Morning, students. So, welcome you all after a huge Diwali break. I hope you all have enjoyed your Diwali vacation. Now, before starting our lesson, I will discuss some appropriate behavior which you should follow. Wear mask, follow physical distancing, maintain hand hygiene, stay at least 6 feet from others. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds and remember to not touch your face. Do not share your food or drinks with others. So in the previous lesson we have discussed about the plasma. Okay, now we will discuss red blood cells. So let's look at the red blood cells. Let's see what is there which is stored in red blood cells. So these RBCs are the most abundant cell in our blood. So when you talk about the most commonly found cell in blood, they are nothing but red blood cells. When compared to white blood cells or platelets, they are found in large number. 5 million RBCs are present in 1 microliter of blood. Okay. 1 microliter is very small amount. It is 10 to the power minus 6 liter. Okay, it is a very small amount of our blood. So in that you find 5 million of RBC, which is again a huge number. So these appearance wise, they are small cells without a nucleus. So they are anucleated and they are mostly called biconcave in shape. So biconcave means something like this. It is tapered toward the center, thin at the center. Okay, from both the sides. So that is the shape of RBC. What is their purpose? They carry oxygen from lungs to different part of the body. Lungs to different parts. So oxygen transport is the main job of red blood cells. Okay. These RBC are red in color due to the presence of a red color pigment called hemoglobin. And this hemoglobin have a strong affinity for oxygen. Okay, so we can say that red blood cell help in binding the oxygen and help it to get transport to different part of the body. So this respiratory pigment, hemoglobin, in a healthy adult is present almost in a considerable amount. Say you can say almost 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin is present in every 100 milliliter of blood. Okay, so in 100 ml of blood, 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin is present in any healthy adult. So that's how that much is the abundance of hemoglobin also. So due to the small size of red blood cell, it becomes easy for them to travel in extremely thin catalyst. Okay, so if you look at the blood vessels, as I said, there are two tubes through which the blood flow. So for blood to travel through such thin tubes, it is also important that cells are also very small. So since these RBC are very small, so they can easily travel through the thin tube capillaries. Okay. So these RBC are produced in bone marrow of stem cells. From where do we get them? Now what before that? Let me ask you something. What is a stem cell? Because many of you might don't know about the stem cell. So stem cell is an embryonic cell. For example, when a baby is born, when a woman becomes pregnant, a small baby which starts growing inside the womb of a woman, so that small organism just have few cells. Those cells gradually become specialized to form different cells. Nerve cells, liver cells, platelets, RBC, WBC, etc. So they are called stem cells. Okay, so these RBC also produce from those initial embryonic stem cells in the bone marrow. Okay, average lifespan of RBC, they do not live forever. They die in spling. It is also called RBC graveyard. So that's about RBC. So their lifespan is about 120 days. Okay. So this is about RBCs. Now the next component of blood is WBC, which is also called leukocytes. So they are very less in number when compared to RBC. In fact, when you have performed any experiment, then you also centrifugate experiment which we have performed in the case of plasma also, you will find that WBC are very less in number, but they are performing a very wonderful job. So if you look at their numbers, so some 4,000 to 11,000 WBC present in 1 microliter of blood. Okay, so when you compare it with RBC is more than WBC. Okay, so number wise they are very less than RBC. So these are they have nucleus in their cells. In case of RBC, they do not have nucleus, but they have nucleus, and they are colorless. So now RBC has red color due to the presence of hemoglobin, but here WBC have no color, they are colorless. But the most important job is that they help to fight infection and build the immune system of the body. Okay, so what is the immune system now? Have you ever heard that this boy fall ill very frequently because its immune system is not strong? His immune system is not strong. So what is an immune system? So it is basically that system, the defense system of our body. So immune system protects our own body to fight against the infection, so that if somebody or a person has a weak immune system, he will be more vulnerable, get attacked by any disease very quickly. He will fall ill very quickly. So if somebody have very strong immune system, they have the capability to fight against the diseases. So the resistance against the diseases will be more. So that is the immune system. Now these white blood cells, they form the immune system. So they help to fight infection, and that's how they protect our body. Okay. Now these WBCs, another point to be noted here, that even though they have the component, this is the component of blood, this is also present in another parts of our body like liver, lymph glands. So these are some other plant where we can find WBC. Okay, now talking about their shape and size, they exist in a variety of shapes as well as variety of sizes. So please remember, even though they are very less in number, but this job which they do, that means that building the immune system of the body, this is a very wonderful job. In fact, there are certain diseases which have almost fatal. Like one such example is AIDS. I'm sure you would have heard about the AIDS. Ads also come on the television. Now those who are suffer from AIDS, they do not survive. Do you know why? Because in AIDS their immune system is attacked. So the immune system is like gone. The immune system is not working. Then if somebody get a small infection, maybe a small bacteria or a small viral infections, that infection will not get okay on its own. So it will become so fatal that it causes death of that person. So this function of WBC is extremely important. Now these are WBC cells. Their lifespan is only for 3 to 4 days inside the human bodies. Like in case of red blood cell, they have the lifespan of almost 120 days, but here they live only for 3 to 4 days. That's it. Now let us talk about the last component of blood, that is the platelets or the thrombocytes. Now have you ever seen that when you get a cut or an injury, what happens? It starts bleeding from that point. Then what happens? If you wait for a few minutes, after some time you see that the bleeding stop. But you did not do anything to make the bleeding stop. It stopped on its own. So how did it stop? This stopped due to the formation of a blood clot at the site of an injury. And how does this blood clot form? The clot is nothing but a blood get accumulated at one place, accumulated. so that no further bleeding take place. So how this clot formation happens? This clot formation happens due to the blood platelets. So platelets are those cells which actually help in blood clotting. So these are very small in size. Size wise they are even smaller than WBC. Looking at their abundance, around 2 lakh to 5 lakh of them are present in 1 microliter of blood. So abundance wise they are less than RBC, but they are more abundant than WBC. They help in blood clotting. Most important thing, platelets have to be there. If platelets are not there, what will happen? Even if you get a small cut, very small cut, the bleeding will not stop, and as a result there will be excess loss of blood, and too much of loss of blood can even cause death, because you are using a blood from the body, okay, continuously, okay. If platelets are not there, blood clotting will not happen. If WBC are not there, the immune system will be very weak. If plasma is not there, in that case what will happen? The fluid nature of the blood itself will not be there, because plasma is the main fluid which occupy most of the space inside the blood. So these cells are embedded in blood. So if plasma itself is not there, how will the blood flow? So all of them are equally important. All the components of blood are important. So now let us talk about human circulatory system in more detail. What are the various parts of human circulatory system and how it functions? Now human being also, we have a closed circulatory system. So we have a blood throughout our body with a lines, with a tube like structure. So some of them are relatively thicker tubes, some are thin, okay. So only within this tube the blood is confined. So you will not be able to find blood in the body cavities. So it is a heart which pump blood to all the part of the body. It has 4 chambers. They are called auricles, and 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. Okay, left auricle, left ventricle, right ventricle. So please concentrate on this part, because understanding the working of heart is very important to understand the circulatory system. Roughly you consider heart, it is divided into 4 parts. Roughly I am making. So it is divided into 4 chambers. It is right auricle, left auricle, right ventricle, left ventricle. So these are the 4 chambers. Now you might ask, what is the need of dividing the heart into 4 chambers? Now it is very important that oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood. Now it is very important that oxygenated and deoxygenated blood do not mix with each other. Okay. So it is rich in oxygen and it is rich in CO2. So it is something which is needed by the blood cells, which is needed by each and every cell of our body. So they all need oxygenated blood, but deoxygenated blood is something which is not required by them. They do not want carbon dioxide. So you can say that oxygenated blood is the good blood which has to provide the oxygen to the cells of the body, and deoxygenated blood is the false bad blood, okay, which contains CO2, which takes CO2 from all the cells of the body. So both of these do not mix with each other. So to keep them separated, that is why we have different chambers. Now, what do the auricles and ventricles do? So auricles are the receiving chamber. So they receive blood. So you can remember this by using the word AIR and VIP. You can always remember these 2 terms. So this will help you to remember which one is receiving chamber and which one is pumping chamber. So auricle, A for auricles, R for receiving. Auricle are the receiving chamber. They always receive blood. So right auricle also receive blood and left auricle also receive blood. Whereas ventricles, they are pumping chambers. That means they pump blood to somewhere else. So left ventricle will pump blood, and right ventricle will also pump blood. So ventricles are always pumping chamber and auricles are always receiving chamber. Clear? Now what do we have to receive? Why do we have two receiving chamber and two pumping chamber? Because one is for oxygenated blood and one is for deoxygenated blood. Okay, so one pumping chamber is for oxygenated and one for deoxygenated blood. Now it is clear why do we have four separate chambers inside our heart. So these chambers ensure that the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood do not mix with each other. Now the way the entire circulation of blood takes place, because circulation, when I say, it means the movement of blood from from heart to different part of the body through lungs. So this entire process is known as circulation. And how the circulation will take place, we will see that very soon. Now why it is called double circulation? Because there are two circulation taking place. One is the circulation of oxygenated blood, and another one is a circulation of deoxygenated blood. So let us look at the precise way. So let us suppose this is body, means be different body part, and let us suppose this is our lungs, right? And let us say that this is the heart, which contain the food chamber, right auricle, left auricle, right ventricle, left ventricle. So auricle are receiving chamber, so they receive blood from the different part of the body. So what kind of blood will come from the various part of the blood? This blood will definitely be deoxygenated blood, because we are going to collect carbon dioxide. Okay, so it is rich in carbon dioxide. So this will be received by the right auricle. Now this right auricle send it to the right ventricle, and it is the pumping chamber, so it pump out this deoxygenated blood to the lungs. So this is the deoxygenated blood. Now what do the lungs do? So inside the lungs, the real exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide take place. Okay, as we have learned in respiration. So it contains a lot of carbon dioxide, and inside the lungs alveoli are present, where oxygen and CO2 exchange together. So once such change happen, the blood that is pumped out by the lungs, it is sent to the left auricle. So it will be oxygenated blood, because oxygen is being supplied from lungs to different part of the blood. And how oxygen come to our lungs? When we breathe in, and then this will goes to left ventricle, and it's sent to the different part of the body. So here you see two circulation are happening. One circulation is for oxygenated one and another is for deoxygenated blood. So that is why this type of circulation is known as double circulation, because double circulation is taking place, and it takes place in human being. So the oxygenated and deoxygenated, they are never mixing with each other. Left auricle, left ventricle, they are deal with oxygenated blood. Right auricle and right ventricle, they deal with the deoxygenated blood. So they are always separated. Auricles are always receiving chamber, ventricles are always pumping chamber. And how is this blood flow taking place? The blood flow will take place only inside the blood vessels. Now we will learn about the blood vessels a little later now. We have oxygenated blood which is flowing from heart to different part of the body. So in this route, it is the arteries which carry blood. And one more place where you will see that the blood is flowing from heart to other parts of the body, from heart to lungs. So this is carried by the pulmonary artery. This is the exception because it carry the deoxygenated blood. Okay. So pulmonary arteries are exception because it carry deoxygenated blood from right ventricle of heart to the lungs, which is very much clear from this figure. So let us now talk about the blood vessels, that is veins. So these veins carry different blood from different body part to the heart, opposite of the artery. Veins carry blood from other body part to heart. So they generally carry deoxygenated blood. So it will be better if you will try to understand in the same diagram. So veins carry deoxygenated blood and they carry different body part to the hearts. So in case of veins, also we have exception, that is pulmonary vein, because they carry oxygenated blood. Because normally veins carry deoxygenated blood, as you can see. But the only exception is pulmonary vein. It carry oxygenated blood from lungs to the left auricle of the heart. So these veins, they have thin elastic wall, because in case of veins, since the blood is flowing from different body parts, the blood doesn't in very high pressures. Okay. So as in case of artery, the blood is flowing out from the heart, and heart is the pump. So it is actually pumps the blood in very high pressure. So it is very important that arteries have thick wall. But in case of veins, they have thin walls because it carry blood from all the part of the body to the heart. Okay. Now in case of veins, there another important point to be noted is that valves are present in case of veins, which regulate or control the flow of fluid. It prevents backflow of the deoxygenated blood, which is a very black blood. So we do not want backflow of blood to take place. Okay, so that is why valves are present. So it can carry the flow of blood only in the one direction, that is toward the heart. So valve is similar to that, to a door. So it can regulate the entry and door, that it can regulate the exit and entry of the people. Okay, so that is the purpose of valves. And finally, the third blood vessel is capillaries. Capillaries are like very thin vessels. They are thinnest tube-like structure which carry blood. So they have extremely thin walls. Now the arteries which we discussed about, they branches out to form a thinner tubes that called which carry blood. They have extremely thin walls. Now the arteries which we discussed, they branches out to form thinner tubes called arterioles, and these are arterioles, they are further branches out to form even the thinner tubes called capillaries, and these capillaries, they join together to form venules and then form veins and then vena cava. This is not in your course. I am just giving you a little bit information about this. So the arteries and veins are linked to each other in some way, and this is how it is. So you see that arteries and are branches out to form arterioles, and the branches are even more thin tube called capillaries. Okay, so that is why we have the valves in the vein, so that deoxygenated blood do not flow in the opposite direction. Okay, so the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood should not take place. So this picture, this actually tells that both artery as well as veins, they also branch out to form very thin blood vessels, and these thin blood vessels are called capillaries. So it is the place where the exchange of gases, exchange of nutrients and excretory products take place. Because they have very thin walls, so the exchange of substances will come very easily. So now that we have discussed both the arteries and veins, let us have a quick comparison between the two. So when you talk about arteries, they carry blood from heart to different body part. And in case of veins, it is just opposite, from body to the heart. Okay. Arteries, they carry oxygenated blood. Exception is a pulmonary artery. Veins carry deoxygenated blood. Or the only exception is pulmonary vein. Arteries, they have thick walls. And why do they have thick walls? Because the blood in arteries flow in very high pressure because they have been pumped out from the heart. Where in case of veins, they have thin walls because blood flow with comparatively lower pressure. In arteries, the no walls are present because it deals with oxygenated blood. So it doesn't matter even if it will be little bit of backflow. But in case of veins, they contain deoxygenated blood which contain carbon dioxide. So it is not desired by the cell. So it is important to prevent the backflow of blood. So that's why valves are present in veins. So these are some of the difference between the arteries and veins. So by now I hope you got to understand that what is blood, it is made up of, and how it is carried inside our body in the blood vessels. How the entire concept of circulatory system work, and I think that should be clear now. Now we'll discuss something interesting, what is pulse, but in next video. Okay, I think this is enough for today. Thank you, students, and if you have any query regarding any topic, you can ask me in your WhatsApp group.